All right. Islam, 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 and welcome to Sisters Standing on Law, Anna Eda L., along with my co-host, Roz Mariah RVBey, the amazing Roz Mariah RVBey.
Islam, peace, and love to all. Islam. Islam, peace, and love to all. How are you today?
I am doing great. I'm doing great.
You are.
On this, oh goodness. Oh, where's all my tools? Oh, let's see. What day is this? Say Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. On this sixth day of Ramadan, Islam to the Moors out there that's fasting for Ramadan, oh my gosh, what do I say? This is my sixth day of Ramadan, actually doing and participating in the fast. I really thought that, not eating from sundown to sunup was going to be my challenge. But my challenge is getting in my 5 prayers.
Getting in your
Getting in my 5 salats. Getting in my 5 salats. I'm trying to do the whole thing and do my salat prayer. And I'm having a challenge keeping up with I swear it's like the time is just flying away. And as soon as I finish one salat and sit down, it's like the next one is ringing in my ear. And so I'm like, oh my God, I'm behind. Now I have to do, I got to make up. And I thought the fasting was going to be the challenge, but keeping up with the salat is challenging only because I'm on the go. That's it. I'm always on the go doing something somewhere, so that's what's happening. And but this Ramadan fasting is great, and reading the Circle 7 Holy Quran and the Quran is just absolutely uplifting, amazing, and building with other people who are doing the same is amazing. It's very encouraging and strengthening, not just for Ramadan, but just, for you as a person individually. That's what it's about. It is, it really is about uniting the family. And if Ramadan does nothing, it unites the family because everybody's doing it together. And you find out some family members are if you go into some of these stores, that are run by people who are participating in Ramadan, and they see if for something gives them the indication that you are a Moor, they will ask you, "Oh, are you doing Ramadan?" And if you say yes, they will give you some information from literature, or they may even invite you to prayer or, some get together. So, it's these things that you find out that we are family and we are united. It's, this thing that Noble Drew Ali brought, it is worldwide. It is worldwide, and so it makes it so that the little pettiness that you might observe or find yourself drawn into, or even, become aware of, is so insignificant because the world is huge, and there are more people who are attempting to unite. Literally, there's more people who are trying to unite in the family than there are who's trying to keep the family divided. So that's encouraging and enlightening, which brings us to our Sisters Standing on Law. Sisters, if you don't know it, I'm going to tell you. not just because I'm a sister, but you are the key. You are the key. Sisters, wake up and stand together. All the prophets that have come have been speaking to you. I mean, I got this revelation or epiphany when I was reading about Muhammad and the history of Islam, and and as I got more familiar with saying the Salat prayer, I'm writing it down because I want to be able to pronounce it well. I want to be able to, know what I'm saying, and I want to do it in Arabic. So I'm writing it down, and I'm feverishly, and diligently, more diligently than feverishly, practicing how to say my salat in Arabic, and with a mind to what it. And as I was doing this, I realized, wait a minute, the Quran, the salat prayers are pretty much based off of the Quran, and I'm like, wait a minute, this looks like the secret teachings of John. Is it John?
It's the same story. Truth doesn't change or pass away.
It's the message, because words are somewhat different. And when you pay attention to the posture that you have to assume, because the posture for the male is different from the posture of the son, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is the secret teachings of John, and it's also the same thing that Prophet Ali brought. If you read chapter 1, that's it. That's what's up. You have the Quran from Muhammad. You have the writings of Yahshua, and you have Noble Jew Ali. And they're all saying the same thing, which is embodied on the cover of the 101. There's a message for you. It says when you wake up, a great meeting will be on. This meeting will restore the harmony to all, but only if you, mother, wake up and take your place among the affairs of man. If we reflect, because man's business is about reflection, and if we reflect on our day-to-day lives, and sometimes there is in it, because we, unless you, bring the harmony to yourself, you have to first bring the harmony to your spirit, to yourself, so that you can become somewhat detached from what is going on around you. And when you become detached from what is going on around you because you brought the harmony to your spirit, you will see that these are the things that will be restored. The disharmony that you're looking at outside of yourself, these are the things that will be restored when mother wakes up and takes her place. Now, let me tell you, mothers, you are divine. Listen to what I'm saying. You are divine, and you are divinely great. That means that what you bring, my sister, has nothing whatsoever to do with commerce, has nothing to do with the colonizers, the modern Europeans, has nothing to do with whatever the colonizers have set up and have in operation right now as we walk on this ancestral estate. It has nothing, that has nothing to do with the divine grace that is you. Nothing. It is this that you must wake up from. You must wake up to the fact that you are divinely great, and as such, You have the power and the ability to create harmony where there is discord. And it has nothing to do with commerce, commercial transactions, or business, or anything that colonizers have going on or have the appearance of you being caught up in. Is the divinity and the divine, as well as the national, that Noble duality speaks of and promotes and brought back, and it's telling us to wake up and become aware of. So, my sisters, near and far, wake up. It's locked.
Now, I got to make it. You said something about it has nothing to do with commerce. It has nothing to do with finances. That's interesting. None of the things that we do here has to do with, I mean, in terms of you declaring your status and being who you are and knowing who you are and knowing that you, especially as mothers, the nation is in your womb. If you're looking for the nation, it's in your womb. That's where it is. Let's be straight with that. But it has nothing to do with trying to injure someone else financially. Like, in other words, oh, we're going to send them this because it's going to, it's a, what is that word that was used, Danny, we talked earlier, a financial burden to them or some craziness like that. No, not at all. The only thing when it comes into finances, if you're talking about it, is that when you and I and we as a people do not stand in our truth of who we are, we then become utilized as what do you call it? What do you call a financial generation or generations of finance?
Oh, revenue generators.
Revenue generators. Right, because even in the scriptures, it says we shall make trafficking of you, But that's what happens because of the lack of doing that and then of the lack of being who you are. So you become revenue generators because you're not honoring your mothers and fathers. Outside of that, as you said, it has nothing to do with any of that. Whatever you should get involved or do get involved in, you need to enter into it as who you are with your status, your relationship to the community. But it's not just a mere relationship; it's a lawful one. You need to enter like that, and you have the right one to associate, which equates to the right to contract, if that's what you're dealing with, because contracts are applied, expressed, written or verbal. So so Bill of Right 1 says you have a right to association. That's what it's saying. So you have to come. You have to come in full life. In full life, which is the opposite of civil little Moor tooth, where you are a revenue generator because you don't really spiritually, because you don't honor your own mothers and fathers by name and principle. That's really why it happened. So, yes, the one-on-ones you mentioned that. Where's the nation? It's there in your womb. Why is this to be? This is to be. We have to get this into the youth at all costs. Well, that means into the mothers. That's where the nation is. That's what it really means. And even plead to the nation. Who do you think they're talking? That's a writing in Moorish literature or Moorish Guide. The Moorish Guide was actually the name of the newspaper when Prophet Noble Ali was on the scene. But you'll see now a little booklet that comprises most or many of the things that were put in the newspaper under the title of Moorish literature. but it's really things that were already published in the Moorish Guide. So some people will call it Moorish literature, or when they say Moorish Guide, they're really referring to the Moorish literature. And, in there, plea to the nation. We have to realize when we're being spoken to, because we were talking earlier a few days ago about, and someone shared with us, no need to say who or what, because it's happening to all of us, is that mothers, because you didn't take care and wake up and make sure they didn't abuse the sons, now they're like, well, all right, let's turn this 360 or 180 here. Let's start pointing it and abusing you and giving your children to the son and telling them, we'll give them to you as long as you don't let her see them. Now, that's some sick stuff right there. Like, we got to put an end to that, for real, because it's all hinged on what mother allows to continue to happen, and directs the family and her sons to also enforce. See, that's the thing. You're laying down the law, and of course our family, especially our sons, enforce it. That's what they do and do best, and you know it. So the directives have to be given to them from birth, from the womb. And that's why we talked about, Revelations 4. Revelation, is it 12:4? I think it is, where she gives birth to the child. And, this child cannot be circumscribed in any way by any untoward or evil misgivings or practices or doings or anything. And they still after her for that, because that's the whole secret, is for her to rise up, be who she is, because she is the nation, and then to instill this into the children. And it's not just her duty alone, it's the whole family. Like, you wouldn't be running into mates, both male and female now, because I just spoke with someone. We got a serious situation even with our young sisters. But we wouldn't be running into people who mistreat, disrespect, and dishonor not just the woman, but the family, because disrespecting her is disrespecting the family. We wouldn't even have that happening, because it has been instilled into the children or the woman at all costs, and we would come with our costumes, right? and it just wouldn't be going down. But for me, right now, like you're happy, you seem to be, feeling good and everything. And I'm in this place of, and I have said it 1,000 times, but it's just the energy that has come with me a few months back of, revealing or unveiling the lawless ones. And it's like this, Thessalonians 2, for those who read scriptures. But the lawless ones must reveal themselves. So, a lot of stuff is going on, but it's a lot of unveiling, because it's like this. Things are not always what they appear to be. But when they appear, much is unveiled. That's my mantra for this time right now. So with that, like, we can say this, Annie, and we keep saying it and and it's science and it's true and it can't be denied. However, it's a matter of each being getting this lesson on their own. Mm-hmm. It's not a new lesson. It's not because we said so. It's always been there. And as you pointed out, the stories or the message is the same, even though sometimes people sort of want to corrupt it a little bit, for different reasons. But it really essentially is the same message. And I yield with that. I don't know. There's so much that could be said, but, that's it in a nutshell, simplistic.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, practice said that.
I think somebody didn't understand what I said. I said, hold on, let me just repeat this. I said things are not always what they appear, But when they appear, much is unveiled. Period. That's it. Unveiling what?
Yeah.
I'm not answering that. Anyway, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to cut you. Go ahead. Yeah.
I was going to say that, Noble Drew, he said that we would be forced to make change. And right now, there's a lot of things going on. And much of it, if not all of it, I would say all of it, is designed to force mothers, sisters, women to change. Because it's past time, so to speak, for this change to come. Now, I'm saying it's past time, but, everything happens exactly when it is supposed to happen. There's no mistake. Everything happens exactly the way it's supposed to happen. And it's usually a lesson for everybody who is aware of what is happening, meaning you're in the presence, you're near, you're in the vicinity of whatever is happening. It's a lesson for those people. And or it's also a lesson for those people who are not in the vicinity of what is going on, yet they hear about it. And, I have to say that everything is a test. Everything. And the test is about how focused are you going to be? Because things happen in our lives, and we have been mentally conditioned to latch on to all the things that are negative and horrible that have happened or has happened in our lives. Our minds will take that and they will play it over and over and over again. And because we do that, we create the same thing over and over and over again, when in actuality what we ought to be doing is reflecting on what has transpired and what might the lesson be, or cry about it or lament about it, but to look at it objectively to determine what is your lesson. So when things happen, I can tell you from my own experience, the lesson may not be immediately seen. But if we trust in ourselves, the lesson will be made clear to us. But we have to trust that that is what is going to happen. Because the minute that you think otherwise, and that whatever you're thinking otherwise is contrary to what you really want, then that's what you will begin to manifest. And, that's what life is about. Life is about reflection and manifestation. And the thing about it is, we are manifesting all the time, whether we want to admit it or not. We are manifesting all the time, and we're manifesting our individual world. Like every day, what I focus on, I manifest for me in my world that I am thinking of. This is like a great lesson and a very high degree. This is the degree that Noble Drew, Yahshua, and even Muhammad, functioned from. Peace and blessings to all of them. And what they brought was the realization that what you think, you create. It's crazy, because in chapter 1 of the Holy Quran, it there's really, the rest of the chapters, the rest of the Quran, chapter 1. And chapter 1 basically tells you that man is mind. Everything you create, everything you experience, everything that you're seeing, everything that you've gone through came out of your mind. This is why Nobuju Ali says to draw circles on your passions and square up your conduct. Because the only reason that things manifest of a not-so-pleasing nature is because while we were focusing on these things that appeared, we were wallowing around in our lower self. And so these things will come upon you. They also tell you this in the bibliothek in Job. He says, my fear has come upon thee. Well, what did he fear? The things he was thinking about all the time. All the time.
Right. In order to identify that they were fears coming. Right. Okay. Have no fear. Wait. So Moors are upright, fearless, and independent. There you go. Mm-hmm.
That's right. That's correct. Now, what we have to be clear on is what is going on. Please, people, hear me when I say this. Cut out all of this bull crap as it relates to commerce. All right? Hear me when I say this. The carrot is commerce in anything of a commercial nature. That's the carrot. But the reality of the situation is that's all they're trying to do is control your mind. So they control your mind by having you chase a carrot. How do I know this? If you read chapter 1 of the Circle 7 Quran, divinely prepared by Nobuju Ali, it tells you man is mind. So they have the people's mind in a trap, and it's cycles of traps that just continue to circle repeatedly. And didn't Nobuju Ali say, I come to free you from your mental enslavement? But we don't want to let it go. Just like in chapter 2, it says that, the people don't want the life. You don't want the life. You know why? Because you want to wallow around in your lower self. But then you cry when your life is about lack or things are not harmonious. He brought you the answer. Yahshua brought the answer. Muhammad brought the answer. Confucius brought the answer. Krishna brought the answer. All the prophets have brought the answer. The answer is you've got to gain back control of your mind. And you got to take the necessary time to purge it of the filth that is in there that you are manifesting, so that you can then begin to desire those things that are of a harmonious nature. But you can't never get to manifesting those things that are of a harmonious nature until you first recognize that your mind is being controlled by someone else. And it has nothing whatsoever to do with commerce. Nothing whatsoever to do with commerce. And if you think it has something to do with commerce, then that is evidence that your mind is currently being controlled and you're doing nothing more than chasing the carrot. We've got to wake up. We've got to read what the prophet brought. He said, look, I gave you enough to save a nation. Now take it and save yourself. Take it and save yourself. Because nobody can save you from yourself, because you create your world based on what you manifest your mind. And another trap is if somebody comes along and says that we're going to do something for you. No, you're not. Not if my mind is ready, set, and in action to create an alternate reality. This is Moorish science. This right here is Moorish science. And then when you factor in cosmology, you can pack a pretty powerful punch with the manifestation of your mind if you understand cosmology and how you use the powers of the planetary energy to send your requests out so they return fulfilled. That's Moorish science, honey, and that begins and ends right in the mind.
Man is mind. I think that no, that's true. That's why it's chapter 1. It's right. It's right there. But man is mind, and there never was a time when man was not. If there was a time, the man was not. Or time. If there was a time when time began, it would be a time when it would end. Can't be.
That's right. It's look. We are divine beings, every last one of us. But Mother, she is divinely great. And every prophet knew this, and every prophet spoke on it. Now, after the prophets transformed, people came along and corrupted that information, and they turned the divinely great being, which is Mother, into some dirty second-class citizen that cannot, that's not supposed to be, not supposed to talk, not supposed to be seen, not supposed to stay in her place. If she really did stay in her place, we would probably be better off. But
if she's in the right place, right.
That's a whole nother discussion. But we have to understand the order of things, because in order for us, the one who has to first comprehend the order of things is her. It's her, because she is the one that, when that egg drops down from her ovary into her uterus, she is the one that makes the decision whether it will be born or will not be born. Of course, that's also in conjunction with the spirit that's going to inhabit the vessel or the body that she's building to and no life. I think that is just incredibly awesome.
That's coded, exactly.
Why?
Yeah.
Why is she not honored as she ought to be? That is awesome. When I got the science on Solomon's temple, I was like, oh my God, that is amazing. That's absolutely, and the ark, the covenant of the ark. People think it's a boat. It is live part of me.
Yeah, that ark that's created in the womb.
That's the woman's belly when she's pregnant. And when I see the sisters walking around displaying that covenant of the ark.
Yes.
And
what's the covenant?
The covenant symbol is in operation, building that body within the dark, no tools. I'm like, no sound. I'm like, that is amazing. Why isn't she honored as she ought to be?
Man must learn by signs and symbols too. That's it. But you know what you reminded me of?
And more importantly, why isn't she? Why isn't she honoring her sisters? We are supposed to be uplifting others. We're supposed to be coming to assistance and through support, not doing it for you. Through support, like how can I support you, near or far? How can I support you so that you can do what only you can do, and what you have to do? We should be supporting each other. But here's another key. part of that mental enslavement that is instilled in many systems around the world is not to unite with their sister. Dead, to look sideways at their sister as though she is going to take something from them.
Mm-hmm.
That's a mental conditioning.
Mm-hmm.
And it does not speak of uplifting the family. It doesn't speak of uniting the family either.
Mm-hmm.
Islam.
Mm-hmm. Islam. You know what you remind me of? There used to be this debate called the debacle debate about the bloodshed and blessings mean bloodshed, and you just mentioned that when you were talking about the egg coming down, and I remember when you look up the etymology of blessing, it definitely says bloodshed, right? And so yes, but it literally using the word blessing, as opposed to graces for the day. Like if you don't recognize your graces for today, graces means form, so that means anything. Since we're in the physical form, it means anything that has manifested, and that's why going right with what we're saying. Form is governed by Taurus, because Taurus governs the throat, which governs the word, which manifests what you want in the physical. It's all tied in, right? But the word, because like I said before, when we were growing up, my mama always said, "Did you say your grace?" She never said, she never used, right, because blessing meaning bloodshed is a fact. But what we don't get is, it means that bloodshed that happens in the womb when that egg comes down and the blood starts to shed, and you start to either form the body, the temple, or not. So you're blessed once in that respect, with that bloodshed. That's why, and even submitting to the will of Allah, that submission is in the womb. You've already done that. You submitted to the will of Allah, who made you, right? That happens then, But the bloodshed part is that blessing comes once, because she's gonna spontaneously abort you. I'm gonna use the word spontaneous, or the blood's gonna shed into all parts, starting with the head, Aries, and going all the way down on each side, the head, Aries. The throat, Taurus. Then you go to Gemini with the extremities that come across the hands and the arms and the upper chest. And then a Cancer with your breast area. And then Gemini with, not Gemini, I'm sorry, Leo with the heart. And then Virgo with the digestive system of the body, but also the digestive system of Mercury, or of the mind, ruled by Mercury, which is thoughts. And then to Virgo, which is the stomach area. Well, I did say Virgo, excuse me. To Virgo, which is the digestive system, the stomach area. And then to Libra, the balance, the kidneys looking like scales, to flush out the water system of the body, the water, purify the waters. And then from there, you go to Scorpio, to the reproductive, and down to the thighs. And that would be Sagittarius, right? And then from there, you go to Capricorn, the knees, and the upper shins. And then for bending, right? And, bending, able to walk or climb. And then from there to the ankles for your agility of movement. Well, that's Aquarius. And then the feet, which is the pedestal, which symbolizes two fish anchored, upright. That's your pedestal, your feet on this earth ground. So that's all that goes down in building of the temple, and that blessing happens once, which is the bloodshed to create that temple. So you thereafter receive graces, which are formed, that which is formed by the word. Because when you read the book of John, thoroughly, the secret book of John, secret teachings of John, it tells you there was mind, and the companion is mind to spirit. And then the will, which is your intent, and the word followed the will. Because first you think it, and then you speak it, which fertilizes it, and it surely manifests. So it's all tied in together. All of it is tied in. So know the sciences of that. You've got it. Then, it's just interesting because you made me think of that word, because it was a back and forth about it, So they're like, oh, we're not blessed. Yep, you're blessed one time in your mother's womb with the bloodshed right there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, don't forget about the crown. Don't forget about the crown.
Well, my position where that is concerned, and we all know, not my position, the fact is that, to this day when the child's head is coming out of the mother, because remember, this is a great day. This is the temple being formed, which is soul of man, or what they'll say is Solomon's temple, and they talk about a building of brick and mortar, but nah. Solomon's temple is the body that was built in the womb. Oh, absolutely. And when when the waters break and the head comes, it's called crowning today, because it's your head that comes out first. And so they call it crowning then, they call it crowning now, and you're actually being crowned as whatever. If you're a son, you are already crowned as a son, which is, in my opinion, and from what I know, one of the highest titles you could have is the Muhammad son. You already got a title, but you're seeking some other title. And it's all right if you want to, achieve things and accomplish things, but you don't drop that grand title of son to then go and get something that you think is greater than that. There is nothing greater than that. There is nothing greater in terms of that title of the one that you were born with when you came here, naked and raw. You came crowned already. That's it. All of us were crowned. We're already crowned by mother. But we seek something out. So it's hard to get back to these lessons that we're talking and telling the women how special this thing is, where if she also has been in the mindset of seeking outside of self and seeking something other that was formed and made later. Same thing with documents and things like that. Let's form and make this instead of standing in the truth of who we are. But so it's hard to take that. It's hard to take that because, see, when you come from that position as we're expressing it today, and so at that point when you're born, what is that? You have what? Birthright. What does the prophet say? Come hear the truth about what? Your nationality and your birthright. All right? Naked and raw. So if you pull away from that foundation of information that supports all other information, then you just lost. And that's why you're running around looking for some other remedies for some situations that are here. The only reason they're here and upon you is because you fell away from the fundamental stuff as we just expressed it, because nobody on the planet, anywhere, no matter who they are, what their nationality is, what they look like, they can't deny that what we just expressed is the way in which they entered into this physical realm. No one can deny it. And every last one of them, as I said, came with rights of birth, but don't know them, don't know that, and then wonder why we're all lost.
Yep.
So this is why we keep bringing it back. You're crowned at birth. Your temple is made in the womb. Nation comes from there. You got the grand title. Look, even Yahshua said, "I'm the Son of Man." It was good enough for him. So, if you don't operate from that, if you don't know that, then you're lost. That's why we keep. Yeah, because it's actually unity. We're not saying it's actually a unity statement here. Wouldn't you say? It's almost the same as it's a unity statement here. We can all start from that square and be on the same path and in the same direction.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. And
it's imperative. That's why we do this Sister Standing on Law broadcast. Because, see, like the 101 says, when she wakes up, the great meeting is on. What that means is that's when the order, and it's not just one, it's like the sisters on a whole, mothers, the Asiatic mother has to wake up, and enough of them have to wake up so that the order can be restored.
Yes.
So when she wakes up, the great meeting will be on, and the work will begin to restore the order. That is the obligation of mother. And as much as the sons want to do it, it's not for you to do. You can't do it.
Oh,
the only thing you can
do is
her and what she has to do. All right? Mm-hmm. She has to do it. Mm-hmm. So the son has to support her in what she must do, and other sisters have to support each other in what they have to do, and that's how you restore the order and raise a nation back to its place.
Thank you, so that you that's how it's done. Because that's how it's done. Because that's how it's done.
There's no other way to do it. That's all there is. And anything else is just distraction and wishful thinking, which is distraction.
Yeah. And distractions right, but that is how it is done. And so that's why we bring it up, because it's the sisters that need to have that knowledge. So to give the directives, which they do anyway from the door, from the time that the family is young or the family is born, that's what they do anyway. I mean, it's done in the womb, to be honest. That's the first school boom. That is not some idealistic thing we're saying. That's real talk also. So so that is, and that brings us back to why the sisters must unite, no matter who and where and what group of people, be it sisters or sons or whatever. The sisters have to be on it as one, period. And you said it. That's the only way. That's how it is done. Not the rest of this other stuff. Has to come like that. Has to be like that. Because that's the way that it really is. It's like someone asked me, well, do you think that, the prophet's work will ever be seen, done, or effectuated or whatever? And hear this. It already is. It's just about you walking into it, or me walking into it, or us walking into it. It's done already. It is done. It is finished. Been finished. And exists as it is solidly. You just have to know how to navigate. You have to walk through it, get to it, put on that crown, and put on that crown that's already there, been there, and then navigate through it against all odds. And remember, it says it doesn't matter. I think we were talking about this. It don't matter what it looked like. It's in your hands, And then that brings us to another situation is that it's definitely coming into our hands. There's no question. But are we? And someone wrote me that the other day. Are we ready? Are we ready? Well, are we as a group of a nation of people? Everything we need, we have, so there's no excuse for us not to be ready. So the question to that is each individual person dealing in this, are they ready? Because the answer to it has already been given and established and exists. So that's a question that must be answered by each one of us in our own self. And that's why we're forced to make changes. And then, like I said, we meet in the same direction with the same knowledge, foundationally. So that question is now to be asked of everyone individually, separately, first. And you can't answer nor speak for another in regards to that question or the answer to that question. It must come from within them, period. You know? And it's a recycle. I mean, we'll cycle back if we're not ready, so it's no big deal. We already know that. So this is just where we are at this time, because we all know there's revolution going on, mental, emotional, physical, everywhere. And here's the thing. The danger of not knowing, of not being quote-unquote ready, is that the adversary is constantly going to establish and or erect and or create some other new method, new process, new this, to capture you once again if you aren't ready. They're still going to be working on it. So, that's not escapable. And again, if you aren't and you don't know, it doesn't matter, because there's something out there for you. For those of us who might be in that position, that's something for you. Because, I think Sister had sent us a spreadsheet of, was this really, I meant to ask her, did she put that together herself, but, gathered all the information of all of these corporations and their positions, some of them being supposedly trustees, some of them, of the people, right, or so-called governmental entities, some of them large corporations, et cetera, that seem to run or rule the directions of the people, and how they've resigned, got fired, went to jail, got this, got that, whatever. So the only thing that's going to happen is somebody new is going to come up into that same position and with some new process to capture those who don't recognize what all that really means. You see what I'm saying? They're going to keep doing what they do.
Right.
We have to do exactly. So what are you going to do? They're going to do what they do because that's what they're supposed to. Mm-hmm.
But, once again, what's happening is people are talking two different languages, because you want to talk about what these commercial businesses are doing, but the issue on the table around the world is nationality, which has bloodline. It doesn't have anything to do with, okay, this business is folding, this business is just starting up, this company, everybody resigned, whatever. It doesn't, that has nothing to do with your nationality, because your nationality comes from the blood that is in your vein, and it identifies you as either of the Asiatic family or the modern European family. And it's just those two things that identify you, and then that identifies what law applies to you.
To you.
The reason that most Moors are having a problem now is because number one, they don't know law. And so because they don't know law, You know, the law is not complicated. It's very easy. It's very simple. That's why they call it common law.
Law.
So
Right.
now, if you feel that your liberties have been violated in any way, shape, or form, that's a human rights issue. Human rights issue can only be discussed and handled with law.
Mm-hmm.
See, this is why, you know, if you can't handle, if you're saying you have a human rights issue, the only thing you can do is handle with law. You cannot go to the United Nations and say anything about human rights using a commercial process.
Oh, yeah, and I think many have done that, and that's why they're looking at an eye and saying, "Dang, them Moors don't know yet. Let's see what we can put together."
But mothers, this is where the mothers need to wake up and restore the order. This is where mothers must wake up, because it's your obligation, mothers, to ensure that the family is well, is taken care of, is provided for, because guess what? This is your estate. It's nobody else's estate. It's your estate. So it's the mother's obligation to make sure that the order is restored to the family so the family can blossom and grow. That's why you've got to wake up, because that begins in your mind, and then you transfer that to the mind of the child that grows in your womb. She got to wake up. It's past time for her to wake up. So
well,
I go ahead.
No, I was going to say, if not, she will find herself in a position of being what? Forced to make changes.
Yeah, forced to make changes, or she may find herself in a compromising position because, you know, if you look at the chronology through time, what they always do, and they're doing it right now, there's so many different documentaries on, because she is not awake, they use mother for gains. And she suffers, she pays the price, as well as her eggs pay the price. And it's happening right now. Right now. Every single documentary that's been coming out is showing that, hey, you know, here's a perfect example. That there's a company that does underhanded dealings, and when they're about to get, you know, busted, they will replace the head of the organization with a woman, and then she will take the fall. Now that happens across the board. It doesn't matter what the category is. This science tells us that the egg is mother's. They will allow the son to claim mother's egg. But if something happens to the egg, it will come and blame mother. That's the attack on mother, and that's the division to keep mother, you know, asleep. If mother's constantly under attack from all angles, then, you know, it's going to be challenging for her to wake up and take a stand. That's why she needs the support of her sisters, and she definitely needs the support of her sons, because they always go for the weak link in the family to use against mother. Sometimes it will be her son, sometimes it will be her sisters, but they always, their goal is always to make sure that mother has been destabilized and remains that way. And that is the only way that her offspring, her children, and her estate can be in the hands of foreigners and or colonizers, or we're here and we can't live harmoniously with those who do want to live harmoniously with us. She has to wake up. You know, when the prophet did the plea to the nation, you got to understand who that plea was directed to, and just what the nation is. Where is the nation? He said, in her womb is a nation. So who would the plea be to? Her.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not the only prophet that has sent a plea to mother. At this point, he's just the last.
Mm-hmm. Well,
but every prophet has pleaded with mother to wake up. Every prophet that has come has been pleading with mother to wake up. So it's time. Past time.
Mm-hmm.
It's time we have some peace. And we ain't going to have peace until she wakes up and takes her place. So it's 10 after 2, so how about we take some calls?
Yeah. Not going on. Let's see what's happening.
Yeah. So if you have a question or comment or concern, press 1 on your telephone dial, and we will begin to take callers. So our first caller is caller 206-775. 206-775, you are on the air. Islam, caller 206-775.
Can you hear me?
Hello?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Islam?
I can hear you now. I heard a little faint voice there.
Islam, mothers. It's Miriam. I had a couple of questions, actually. First, I know the mother began with speaking about Salat, and it is Ramadan, so of course we are all trying to do our 5 times daily. My question is, though, while I'm reading sometimes the prayers, I feel like, who exactly are we bowing to? Like, who exactly or what exactly am I submitting or saying I'm the servant of? You know what I mean? Because it's difficult. Well, it's not difficult, but what I notice when I go to the mosque is that obviously the women and the men are kept separately, but also the women are not allowed, or it's frowned upon for the women to speak the prayers aloud. The women are to say the prayers silently, and the men are to speak the prayers out loud. So to me, that feels a bit like the women are being subjugated within the mosque, and
this is a beautiful question.
Yeah, that's something that is concerning to me.
Well, see, what you need to do, what you might want to do is look at, what Muhammad taught, what he wrote, and what he practiced. Not necessarily what people are doing today, because a lot of things have been corrupted today. It doesn't matter what venue you go to, it's been corrupted. But if you look at what the initial prophet brought, what he wrote, and what he practiced, you will find the answer to your question.
But wait, you got to tell her about the positions, the difference. You're identifying a distinction.
If you've been doing the prayers, then you know that the position for the son is different from the position for the mother.
The mother.
Correct.
That's right.
Yeah, we don't actually really bow, actually.
That's
right.
We stay in a more of an upright position. This is true.
And so when you look at...
So that's why it's confusing when you go to the mosque. Yeah,
No. Look at the position that the sons have when they're in prayer. That position... Are you a mother? Do you have a child?
Yes, I have a daughter. And this is a lot of these questions are from her, because a lot of these questions are from her.
That's good. Listen,
okay, go ahead.
When the child is in the womb, the position that the child is in is the same position that the sons take in prayer.
Wow. And that's why you don't take that same position.
And when you in your prayer, your position is different.
Correct.
There's a lot of science in what was brought, but you have to go and don't pay too much attention to what people are doing today. Go back and look at what the individual prophets have brought, wrote, and practiced themselves, and you will see that many of the answers are in the original writings, much like many of the answers to our questions regarding law is in the original writing of the Constitution, not what people talk about, promote, or publish today.
That is very helpful. Yes, I have a 10-year-old child, and so when Ramadan began, we started to make salat every day, and she said, who are we praying to? Like, why are we doing this? Like, we should not be doing this. So I started to explain to her, the science behind it. So of course we go to the mosque, and in the mosque it's totally different than what I tell her. But there's the aspect of community because, of course, we're all fasting, we're all making salat, we're all doing these things together. But what they're teaching and the things they're saying are not really in line with what Noble Joe Ali brought or what Muhammad brought. You know what I mean? So there's that disconnect.
And that's why you have to go back to the source. Because even if you was to go to a Moorish Science temple today, they're not doing in the temple today.
So are they? Do they mix a lot? Or like? No. Okay. What about the Nation of Islam? Do they?
I would not know because the Nation of Islam came out of Noble Drew Ali and the Moorish Science Temple.
Correct. Yeah.
So that's a corruption in some way. But, of course, they all have their purposes for doing what they did. So, it's not that it was all lost. It's just that they have their purposes for what they had to do.
Thank you. That was helpful. That's extremely helpful. So I would say that my opinion is that do you agree with making salat 5 times a day and to adhere to the cultures and the customs of Ramadan, which is, reading the Quran and, not speaking bad words or gossiping or all of those things? You agree with those things? You think that is,
absolutely,
still the customs are there within?
It is a way of life. Doing it, that's talking about a way of life. Right. It's telling you that it's a way of life, and because it's instructions on how to discipline yourself, so that you're in control of yourself rather than somebody else.
So some of it, I believe, has been taken to an extreme when it comes to, some of the teachings of Islam has been taken to an extreme.
Well, it's probably been corrupted. That's why you have to look at the original writing and the original intent.
Let me say this.
Are you trying to say something?
No, I just wanted to add that, I used to be one of those people before I understood things. I said, you don't have to pray 5 times a day. Truth is, these are orders to discipline those who absolutely need the discipline, and to acknowledge the energies, all right, and to acknowledge law, right. I'm telling you, because in reality, most of this stuff you do anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And we did anyway naturally, but falling away from it, going into remember, the prophet said you strayed after the strange gods of Europe, of which you knew nothing about. So the whole thing is to bring you back into your customs and culture, Islam. All right? So they're natural things. Like I tell people, when you do the greeting of Islam, you put your hand to your heart. It's a natural reflex when you see someone that you would greet that you know. You got to look into this. So by straying after, these are things that are bringing the discipline back to those who need it. Because you can pray silently, like you just said.
Yes.
Just silently, because prayer is meditation and thought if you are providing.
Yes, so that's where I
hold on, let me just finish.
I compared it to meditation. Oh, go ahead.
You are afforded the time in your course of life and your life to even be able to take a moment of silence due to much of the hecticness and what you have been by social engineering forced to do. So it's for the discipline of saying, all right, so you're working 9 to 5, you're cooking dinner from 6 to 8, you're putting the children down from whatever. So it's formed for the discipline for you to make sure that you bring that honor, because we had strayed away. So when you start being who you are, you automatically are doing that, especially if you have time in your life to meditate, because prayer is meditation. And it is really silent, but it can be out loud, because when you speak it, you give fertilizer to it to manifest. So, I get what it is and why it is.
Yes. Yeah, I explained. Well, I used meditation as a reference and explained to my daughter. I told her prayer was a form of meditation, because we used to meditate. We always meditated, and so now to be making salat every day, I told her it's a meditation. And it's also it's very much in line with the movements of the sun and the planet. Like when you are praying at dawn, you are syncing yourself up with that, with the world, with the earth, and it's the most natural thing. Like, so I tell, even my daughter does not wake up at dawn to pray, but I do. And it's, it feels like the most natural thing. You know what I mean? It feels like you should be up at dawn, right? Like why we always were sleeping until 8 and 9, that's just not what and the things that you've gotten done, the things I've gotten done from being up from 5 in the morning till 10:30 at night is outstanding. Like the amount of things I've been able to accomplish because I've had to stay up from dawn prayer to Isha prayer. I've gotten so much done. It's incredible. Like literally incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had one other comment too about that really struck me yesterday. I was watching this documentary about the vanilla bean production, just trying to source like more natural ingredients to eat while in Ramadan. I came across this documentary about vanilla beans, and it was really interesting because they was talking about how the Chinese had came in to Malaysia, which is like the biggest producer of vanilla beans in the world right now is Malaysia, and the Chinese have gone over there and they basically have taken it over, except they're only taking over the export of it, not the production of it. The Malaysians are still farming the vanilla bean. And it was interesting, this guy who had immigrated there, and his father was Chinese and his mother was Malaysian, and he's cooking with his family. He married a Malaysian woman. So they're cooking, and his wife says, well, I married a Chinese, and he says, I'm not Chinese. And then she says, well, what is it that we should call you? And he says, I'm Malaysian. My mother's Malaysian. And I just thought that was like, wow, like finally people are saying the truth. Like finally it's like, duh, like everyone around the world, they get this. Like his mother's Malaysian, his father's Chinese, he's Malaysian. Like this is not a complex thing, but, obviously you bring that same like idea to North America and it's a struggle. So it was just interesting documentary, and it was just confirmation of what you guys have always been saying and what the Prophet has spoke about. So I thank you, and assalamu alaikum to all of you.
All right.
All right. And wa-alaikum salam.
And I yield the floor.
All right. Thank you. All right. Our next caller 412-727, you are on the air.
Islam family, this is Energy L. I'm Northwest of Mexico. Hope all is well. I appreciate the Moorish Science today. I'm grateful I was able to get on the class today. Going back to a few things that was already stated, focus on what you don't want is the energy that you are aligning yourself with, unwillingly, but that's exactly what you're doing. When you say chapter 1 in the Quran, it tells you about man is mind, and this is Sister Standing on Law. So, yes, this is information from others. We have to get it. Thinking prosperity beginning to speak prosperity. You will begin to manifest prosperity, but be clear, one needs to study to reclaim the mind of the higher self. And what does the higher self breed? It's the mother of the virtues and the harmonies of life. And it breeds justice, mercy, love, and right. So with that being said, that came out of the questions for Moorish Americans. You have to study, reprogram the mind, as was said earlier. And when you put that focus, and this being the month of Ramadan, that's one of the things that can be put into place. Give up being scared. Give up the mindset of being powerless. Give that up for the period of Ramadan. That's something to fast from and see how you, rise from that. The sister that was just speaking, I've never been to a mosque or anything like that. She said that the women don't pray out loud. Is that what was said? They have to be silent and the sons speak it out loud. Well, once again, if she's doing it silently, once again, she's working what's inside her mind, because we the ones that got to get our minds right. And that just struck me when she said that. I was like, and when Mother pointed out, we have different positions. We don't have to do what the son has to do, but we have work that we need to do, and we really need to just focus on that. And then I'm looking here in the Quran in chapter 2 where Mary and Elizabeth was taught. So it does come back to, you have to be educated about your position, especially after the age of being asleep like we have been for some time. It's not always been, but I mean, that's just what we've experienced. But we're waking up. That's why I appreciate that one little video that Roz is featured in, Pharaoh's Army, I think it's called, and she's sitting there so eloquently putting it, about our situation. Once Mother wakes up, this will all be done by breakfast. However, it does take time. Studying is the only way, because, again, we've been given so much misinformation, from each other, that we need to go ahead and just really focus on in this period of Ramadan. I myself, I've never indulged in such a practice called Ramadan, but I fast frequently. I'm abstaining for a lot of things on the regular, and alignment is most important to me. So I'm mindful of the words that I use, the thoughts that I keep, the studies that I take up. It's just important for me to constantly nourish my mindset. Regardless of what I'm faced with, I look at it as, different principles that I can enact. Over 20 years ago, when my oldest was a toddler, I had came across the 7 spiritual laws of success. And one of the mothers was speaking on earlier in this class about detachment. And that's one of the laws of success. You have to practice detachment. And in doing so, it frees you up to be able to just see things for what they are. Don't react everything on emotions. Just be mindful of what's going on. So utilizing those principles and then coming into the knowledge of my birthright, and then my national principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. I mean, all these things are in alignment, and that's what I appreciate. So I'm hoping that I can reach anyone out there that's listening. It really is your mindset, and it is alignment. If you focus on, if I do this, then that's what's going to happen. Yes, just like Job, as they spoke on, you're going to manifest those things. It's what you put your mind on, that's what you'll manifest. You put your mind on being free, you'll be free. You put your mind on first principle, love, then you will begin to recognize that's what you are. If you put it on truth, that's going to start coming to you, like, literature that's necessary, lectures that'll come, across your path. You're going to be able to see them you know, are they beneficial or non-beneficial? Because you've already started manifesting your mind in the practice of love, and love is not a non-beneficial thing, you know, but it does open you up to be able to learn. And you know, once you got your truth going on, that truth is going to bring that peace to you. When you got your truth intact, you'll find the peace, and in that peace, you'll generally just manifest freedom of a lot of things that your neighbors won't be experiencing because they're not, you know, woke yet. And you may be the vessel that they see and might be able to wake up, you know, just from your very being yourself. You know, I had someone ask me yesterday, because the flag is promptly, you know, off the house here, and the brother stopped and asked. He was like, well, what does that mean? I was like, it means that I acknowledge that I'm home and it's my national flag. Well, it's actually the empire flag, is what I said. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, oh, well, I'm Hebrew Israelite. And I just smiled at him. I didn't even get into the conversation because it wasn't necessary. But there was a time where, you know, one would be compelled to say, well, you know, you are more too, and it's not necessary. I got to be myself. He asked more questions. You know, my children were there. When he said he was Hebrew Israelite, it was wild because successful, he's only 3. He said, well, I'm Moorish American. You know, and that right there in itself, you know, and that from the womb, you know, it's seriously, sisters and sons that may be on the call, it is a mindset. It is your mind. If you could, seriously, you don't have to argue with your brothers and sisters. Yes, we know there's this division because we're attached to our, you know, schools of thoughts or our little cliques or whatever. But that's, I mean, you know, everybody got their preferences, but your birthright is your birthright. And the business and order of the day is nationality. We can't keep calling ourselves, you know, mothers. We can't keep labeling ourselves and our prodigy, you know, property of others and fictitious entities, and then think that there's something's going to change, or, oh, if I hit the lottery, then my life will change and I'm going to be a better person. No, it does not work like that. That has nothing to do with anything. It's not about the money. It's about the power, and the power is not only the knowledge, but the application of it. And I yield the floor.
Islam.
All right, Islam. All right. Thank you for your call. And let's see. Our next caller 229-292. You are on the air. 229-292.
Peace, goddesses, queens. I'm Chardonnay. I really appreciate the sister who just spoke, because the spirit allowed her to speak exactly what I was actually going to ask a question about, which is you know, energy and stuff like that. Ever since I started becoming on this journey of awakening, as I get deeper into it, it's like I notice my fears coming up. So I'm glad that I'm aware of them. And sometimes, like, just knowing about, like, the energy and stuff like that, it kind of makes me very paranoid, because I'm like, you know, I have certain thoughts come in. I'm like, okay, this not me. But it's like sometimes those thoughts become so heavy on me to the point that I have suffered from anxiety, and I did suffer from depression, even though I was not really trying to claim it like that, but I had to kind of be real with myself and, you know, really get to the root of, you know, what I was going through. Because after I had my son, you know, I was going through this period of like, oh, I don't know who I am. You know, I felt like I was having, like, social anxiety. I felt like I couldn't really, I'm an Aquarius sun, by the way, and I have a Cancer moon and a Scorpio rising. So, like, before I knew all about, like, the energy and stuff like that, I feel like I was more able to be, like, you know, myself. But, you know, as I kind of got more aware of energy and, you know, stuff like that, just the paranoia started to seep in, and to the point that I couldn't really interact with people. Even to this day, sometimes I feel like I can't interact with people because I feel like I may be judged, or, you know, they think this way about me because I may receive a thought that I know ain't coming from me, that's probably coming from them. So it's just sometimes, you know, I know who I am deep inside, you know, but at the same time, what about those thoughts that come in that be trying to, you know, negate you or pull you away from, you know, who you are? Like, because, I mean, I know we have to.
Let them go.
I know we have to find our own.
You have a problem letting them go? Do you have a little bit of a problem letting those thoughts go, or what to do with them?
I do, yes, because sometimes they replay in my head like an obsession almost, and I'm like, no, you know.
That's the answer.
Well, wait a minute. You said you were Aquarius sun, right? Is that what you said? Aquarius sun?
Yes, Cancer moon.
Cancer moon. And what was the rising?
Scorpio.
Okay, there it is right there.
Clutchy.
Yeah, you're going to have to let go. The Cancer holds on to things with their pinchers, the little pinchers, you know, the little pinchers claws, and the Scorpio definitely doesn't know how to let go of anything until it thinks that, it killed it, or it is whatever it is you want it to be. So you have a hard time, and you'll look for revenge on that. Now, the Aquarius, this is where your real problem comes in. I mean, the real energy dispersion comes in at, is that Aquarius is air, the Cancer is water, and the Scorpio is water. So you do have a lot of energy, emotion, or what people call emotional, but it's really energy and motion, and then it's a matter of directing that energy, and that's what we're discussing right now, what to do with that. But the Aquarian is a fixed sign. The Scorpion is a fixed sign. So it's hard for you to make any quick changes or decisions regarding that. And the Cancer is an initiating sign to get stuff started. So you look on that, well, what should I get started with this? What should I do? Because I don't want to let go of it. And I want to get revenge on whatever that may come. You appear that way. You understand? So that's why you're asking, what do I do with those feelings? Let them go.
So it's not real. Basically,
no, it's all in your mind. Man, it's mind. But if you understand these energies and how they work with you, because this is your Trinity we're talking about here. So that means that you, and the thing is that being an Aquarius, you want to help everybody, right? You want everybody to be good, correct? And everybody to be treated right, correct? And you have a variety of different associates and friends and stuff. People call them strange friends or whatever like that. It's a whole variety of people that, you receive as associates and friends. So you want everybody to be all right. And then you're sensitive with the Cancer to all of their needs, but you also show your own neediness too, because you want to clean. Okay, all right. And then if you're in a feeling of wanting to clean because of your situation and how you're feeling and like that, and you need that attention like that, because Cancers do need a lot of attention and pats on their back, then if someone, okay, all right, and then if someone asks if they're not sensitive to that, now your Scorpion presentation comes in, and the first thing you may do is either with the mouth or with your actions or with your thoughts, want to get back at them and get revenge on them for what they. Did you say
I did, yes.
All right. I'm reading it. All right, I'm not reading you. I'm reading the energies that have been attached to you, that are attached to you, and those are the ones that you need to figure out how to navigate with. And I trust what I'm saying will help to assist, because it is acknowledging something before you can ever fix it. Like, we need to fix this, or I need to fix this, and I'm giving you what it is you need to fix. I'm giving you what it is that's happening, and now you can begin to acknowledge it, thereby make the adjustments because I think you're getting a better understanding of what exactly is happening at the time that it's happening. So there it is. That's what's happening. All right?
Thank you. Yes, thank you for that.
All right. All right. So
that is
man, know thyself. Man, know thyself right there, and you'll be good. And now you won't. No one can make you feel like something wrong with you because of what you do or whatever like that. You understand what it is. Navigate with it.
exactly.
That's your Trinity. All right?
Yes, thank you.
All right. You're welcome.
All right. Let's see. That was our last caller. Unless someone has a question, a comment, press 1 on your telephone dial, and we got like 20 minutes left to the broadcast. So if anyone has a question, a comment, press 1 on your telephone dial. And we'll pick it out. All right. Well, what do you say we end the broadcast? What do you think?
I say. Yes. And the message is, sisters, work with sisters. Sisters, we are mothers. We are sisters. We are daughters. All right? And we have to respect and honor each other. And when we do not do that, that's the problem, because the sons, as has been admitted, follow your direction. So
that's right.
It's all about the house. The husband is a house binder. He shall bind your house. That's what he is, but he's the son first. And we are mothers, daughters, and sisters. And that has to be the first call. Has to be. We can meet, we can work together. We might want to meet and not necessarily always physically be where each other is at a time, but all directions come from the mind, the universal mind, which is man, which is mother being the womb of man, bringing forth the temples, the bodies to traverse upon this earth plane and do the will of Allah. That's it. And if you don't give that, then that's why we're in this disarrayed place that we're in today. So it all comes back to you, mother, daughter, sister. Islam.
Yes. All right, Islam, and let's see, make sure and check our principles of nationality in action. Thank you for joining us today. Peace and love to you all, and Ramadan Mubarak. Peace and love.
Peace and love.